Hello, welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So Joanne, what should we do tonight?
Well, we've had a lot of people ask about how to take the sales figures in AR and match them up to the sales figures on the P&L, and
Right.
just having a lot of trouble doing that. I thought maybe we could talk about that and what considerations that you need to think about
Sure.
when you're trying to match those numbers.
Yep. Good point overall, and actually even not necessarily specific to those two reports, but even a good point to make here would be that not every report will be designed to look directly at another report and give you the same information. We've got to be careful when we want to match apples to apples that we are actually pulling the same information or evaluating it the same way, because certain reports may not be designed to do that. So just one off the top of my head, I get asked every once in a while, the sales rep report in the reports module will look at total invoice dollars. Whereas if you look at a sales report in AR, it's going to give you true sales, which is excluding freight, postage, and handling.
Okay.
So where that's going to get included in the sales rep report, it won't get included in AR.
Okay, that makes sense.
Same sort of thing here. If you're looking at sales in AR and you're looking at a specific figure in AP and GL, obviously to look at apples to apples, we need to make sure that everything that's getting onto the GL is getting entered that way in AR.
Okay.
So if there's something else getting posted to it from AP, cash book, obviously the sales report's not going to pick that up. So just things like that. So we can open up the couple reports and look at those.
So can we take a look at the AR sales report first?
Sure. Okay, so I'll open up accounts receivable. And the report I was specifically thinking you were talking about is the sales report here. Okay, so if I just open up customer sales, and you can run this, of course, by sales rep, the different methods, but if I were to look at a sales figure here, okay, this is reporting true sales, which is really your line type J on an invoice or a credit note.
Okay.
So it's going to exclude freight, postage, handling, sales tax, obviously. It will also, it's not going to include credit and debit journals.
Okay.
So it's truly your invoices, credit notes. So big rule of thumb there is if you're looking to match to a specific number on the P&L, this is what you'd want on your invoices. Like your line type J's have to include that GL code. Like if you're trying to map to account 4000 on the P&L, for example, all of your invoices, credit notes that are line type J should be 4000.
Okay.
And no other account. Credit and debit journal should be some other account, and typically they would be either uncollected funds or bad debt or something like that.
Okay.
Write-offs. That's what credit and debit journal should be. Is really just adjustment write-offs. They shouldn't really adjust sales, technically speaking. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
All right. So can we take a look at the GL report?
Sure. Okay. All right. So if we know this, the AR report is just truly sales, line type J's. Invoices and credit notes. Now we'll open up the P&L. A couple of things to think about here. First of all, we need to consider, while this report's opening up, we need to consider what accounts, some people like to match the total sales. They may have a series of revenue accounts that add up to a total.
Right.
So it's what figure are you actually matching to? Are you matching to one sales number, or are you matching to a total sales? Okay. So, for example, here if we come back to the report, in my database I've got about 8 or 9 revenue codes here that all add up to revenue. Now, if I want my AR sales report to match to the $19,000 total revenue, well, all of my invoices and credit notes that are general job lines should be pointed to one of those GL codes.
I see.
If they're pointed to anything else, if I go out to the, if I point one of my invoices to another income account, well, that's obviously not adding up to that total revenue account. So that would be one reason why you'd be off.
That makes sense.
Okay. I go back to the first page here. I mentioned when we were looking at the AR report, credit and debit journals don't show up on the sales report. So if you have one of these accounts included in a credit and debit journal, that's going to appear on the GL side, but not on that sales report.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so that's again getting back to we need to make sure we're comparing apples to apples. So If we want this to match the sales, then we've got to put it in AR that way so it comes out that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other watch outs to be careful of?
Yep. Other modules. So cash book transactions.
Okay.
AP, sometimes you'll do refunds. Customer overpaid an invoice, they need a refund. Well, if you hit a sales account, one of these 7 or 8 accounts on an AP transaction or a cash book transaction, well, obviously your sales report's not going to know about that.
Right.
So maybe use another account. Maybe that's where you have a number lower than your revenue line.
To handle those kind of
Yep.
transactions. Yep.
Or, just have, map to a subtotal up at the top. Map to have a couple of sales account, true sales, that you then subtotal and then have another line below that.
I see.
So that your AR, if you truly want to match the sales, you can match to that specific number.
That makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Nope. We've answered the questions. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Well, this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward to more to come.